The sun had barely risen over Carrington, but the Manchester United training ground was already alive with energy. Players whispered among themselves, excited yet curious about what lay ahead. They had heard the rumours Ruben Amorim, the Portuguese mastermind, was different. At precisely 9 a.m, Amorim strode onto the pitch, with a confidence that immediately commanded respect. His whistle hung loosely around his neck, and a clipboard filled with diagrams and notes was tucked under his arm. The players could sense it, this was no ordinary training session. "All right everyone, gather round," Amorim called out. His voice was calm but carried an authority that silenced the chatter. As the players formed a circle, he laid out his plan. "We're going to play football the way it's meant to be played," he began, his words sparking a ripple of excitement. "Fast, fearless and together. From today, we start building something unstoppable." Amorim's methods were unlike anything the squad had experienced before. Training began with an intense rondo session, but it wasn't the typical warm-up they were used to. Amorim's version demanded precision, speed, and constant communication. Laughter and frustration mixed as players tried to keep up with the blistering pace. Then came tactical drills. Using coloured cones and markers, Amorim broke down positional play in ways that left even the most seasoned players impressed. He moved among them, correcting stances, pointing out spaces to exploit, and praising quick thinking. "Good, Bruno, that's what I want to see. Rashford, when you make that run, trust your instincts," he shouted, his enthusiasm infectious. For the defenders, Amorim introduced a drill designed to replicate high-pressure scenarios. Lisandro Martinez and Raphael Varane locked eyes as they prepared for the challenge. "Stay compact, communicate and anticipate," Amorim instructed Dot. As the session progressed, the players found themselves pushing harder, smiling more, and rediscovering the joy of the game. The final segment of training was a scrimmage, but with a twist. Amorim introduced rules that forced the team to adapt, think creatively, and trust one another. Goals weren't celebrated by individuals, but by the entire team. When Garnacho scored a screamer, Amorim clapped and yelled, "That's it! That's the Manchester United spirit!" By the end of the session, the players were exhausted, but exhilarated. The camaraderie was palpable, and even the younger players felt like they belonged. News of the extraordinary session spread quickly. Staff members who watched from the sidelines couldn't contain their excitement. "I've never seen anything like it," one of them admitted. Back at Old Trafford, fans began sharing clips and photos from the day. The hashtag #AmorimEra started trending, with supporters marvelling at the energy and passion radiating from the squad. "This is it," one fan tweeted. "This is the Manchester United we've been waiting for." As the players left the pitch, drenched in sweat but smiling, Amorim stood watching them, a satisfied look on his face. He knew this was just the beginning, but he also knew the foundation had been laid. "See you all tomorrow," he said with a nod, "and come ready to work." For the first time in years, Manchester United felt like Manchester United again. Ruben Amorim wasn't just a coach, he was a man on a mission to restore the pride, passion and power of one of the greatest clubs in football history. The Amorim revolution had begun. Edwin van der Sar has made a heartwarming to the pitch in a charity match for Ajax following a brain hemorrhage last year. The iconic Dutch goalkeeper, 54, played for a raft of top clubs during his illustrious career, including the Amsterdam Giants and Manchester United, who were his last club before he retired from professional football. Van der Sar chose to transition into an executive role after hanging up his gloves and worked his way up through the ranks at Ajax. He eventually became the club's chief executive officer before falling ill. Thankfully, the Dutchman has recovered well since suffering a brain hemorrhage whilst on holiday in Croatia last year. And Van der Sar was even well enough to don the goalkeeping gloves one more time this weekend. The former Old Trafford favourite was one of a number of players who rolled back the years to feature in a charity match. Pitting a team of Ajax legends against an opposing team from Real Madrid for the former's 125th anniversary celebrations. Van der Sar had earlier shared a post on social media hyping the event, sharing a picture of a ball at his feet. He said last session done before the Ajax Legends match this Sunday versus Real Madrid. Anyone else looking forward to the game? The sight of Van der Sar playing football again, albeit in a one-off game, will be a welcome sight to many Manchester United fans. They gave their former goalkeeper a rousing reception when he returned to Old Trafford for the fixture against Aston Villa on Boxing Day last year, while still recovering from his brain hemorrhage. Van der Sar won a staggering 11 trophies during his 6 years at Old Trafford after joining the Red Devils from Premier League rivals Fulham. After returning to his role as Ajax CEO following his recovery, Van der Sar stood following the Dutch Giants' calamitous 2022-23 campaign. In a statement, he explained, after almost 11 years on the board, "I am done. We have experienced wonderful things together, but it has also been an incredibly tough period. I'm very grateful for the people I have met and worked with during my second career at Ajax and what we have achieved and been through together. I feel the need to take some distance, to get some rest and to do other things. It doesn't feel good to take decisions about the future of this wonderful club in the coming period. That is why I have decided to resign." Victor Gyokeres admits he hasn't been asked to join Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, but said we'll see when asked about a potential reunion. Gyokeres fired Amorim's Sporting to the Primera Liga title last season, scoring a league-leading 29 goals and 14 more in cup competitions. He already has 23 from just 18 outings this term, including a hat-trick in the memorable 4. One Champions League victory against Manchester City. The Lisbon side are 6 points clear at the top of their league table after 11 matches and have 10 points from a possible 12 in Europe. If they're to keep up their fast start, though, they'll need to do so without Amorim. United made a mid-season swoop for the 39-year-old head coach, who will take charge of his first Premier League match on November 24th. In the meantime, though, the international break has given players from both clubs to speak about what Amorim's move might mean, and it was no surprise to see such questions put to Gyokeres. Amorim probably has some strikers there already, so we'll see, the Swedish international said, as reported by Fotbollskanalen. No, he hasn't asked me to join him. It's fun, but nothing I attach any importance to because it's talk and nothing concrete. Gyokeres was also asked more generally about Amorim's exit. It's very sad that he's leaving, but of course we understand his decision, he said. He has of course meant a lot to me, considering that he gave me that chance and that he made me develop so much. Now we look forward to working with the new coach. United aren't the only club to find themselves linked with Gyokeres after his impressive exploits in Portugal. However, they look unlikely to face competition from Barcelona. He's a good player, he has been scoring goals for a long time in Portugal, Barca's sporting director Deco told Mundo Deportivo. We know him like others, but he's not our priority at the moment. We're not looking for a number 9 to replace Robert Lewandowski because we want him to remain happy, scoring goals and at least stay for another season. We've won things and he's happy to be here. We're not going to talk about any player now. Barcelona striker Lewandowski has thrived after being reunited with his former Bayern Munich manager Hansi Flick. He has 19 goals from 17 appearances in all competitions this term, with 14 in La Liga, 6 more than any other player, to help the Catalan club open up a 6-point lead over second-place Real Madrid. When Antony scored just 35 minutes into his Manchester United debut, Erik Ten Hag must have felt a feeling of justification. The former United manager had championed the pursuit of the Brazilian winger, determined to put his own stamp on the club's wide options, even though the Reds had spent big on Jadon Sancho the previous summer. However, Sancho struggled for form in his maiden season at Old Trafford, scoring just 5 goals in 38 appearances, and Ten Hag felt Antony was the answer. When the Brazilian netted in his first outing in United colours, giving them a 1-0 lead in a 3-1 home win over Arsenal, it looked as though Ten Hag's summer-long pursuit of his former Ajax colleague had been vindicated. The Dutchman's case for wanting to sign the 24-year-old was strengthened all the more when he added to the goal he scored against Arsenal by scoring in the subsequent Premier League matches against Manchester City and Everton. Boasting 3 goals in his first 6 United appearances meant it felt as though United had made the right call to back Ten Hag. Antony's early numbers were encouraging, and he was still adapting to life in a new country. Patience was the very least he deserved. Yet many United fans and journalists alike felt the club was paying an astronomical amount of money for a man that had never played in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. Shelling out €95 million up front, with a further €5 million due in add-ons, was a huge gamble. A little over 2 years on, the gamble has failed to pay off. Antony had 3 goals in 6 games, but has since managed just 9 in 81 with his only strike so far this season via the penalty spot in the 7-0 rout against third-tier Barnsley in the Carabao Cup. Having ended his first season at United with 8 goals to his name, a lot of United supporters were only too happy to give the winger more time to adjust. However, that patience has virtually ran out. He is currently bottom of the pecking order in the race for a place out wide. What is all the more frustrating and disappointing for Antony is that he went on strike in August 2022 to try and force through a move to Old Trafford. He refused to make himself available for selection for Ajax's 1-0 win over Sparta Rotterdam in their third Eredivisie game of the season, amid his desperation to be reunited with Ten Hag. Alfred Schreuder, who succeeded Ten Hag as Ajax boss, said, "Antony is not in the squad. I spoke with Antony and he told me that he didn't feel 100% ready to play. I only want players in the squad that are 100% focused on Ajax." Antony was again left out of the squad for Ajax's 2-0 win over FC Utrecht 7 days later. Schreuder, who was sacked by Ajax in January 2023, said pre-match, "The Antony situation hasn't changed compared to last week. We discuss it internally every day, also with the player. He reports himself at the club and we speak, but I want to focus on the players we have here. For now, Antony is not important." Post-match, however, Schreuder launched a scathing assessment of Antony's pursuit of a move to Old Trafford, claiming the winger's desire to move to England was driven by money. "Nowadays, everything is about money, and I think this is sad. This our world, it's very sad, and I don't approve that these things are happening to us," he said. Having declared that he wasn't focused on playing for Ajax, it was inevitable his move to United would go through, and it was hoped the former Sao Paulo winger would provide United with the sprinkling of magic their attack was longing for. Instead, he is in danger of being remembered as the example of the dumb money Sir Jim Ratcliffe accused United of investing in Fred back in 2018. Having failed to sparkle under the manager, Antony would have backed himself to excel under most. He faces an uphill challenge to rekindle his career under new United head coach Ruben Amorim. Currently out of favour and without having made a meaningful start so far this season, he will be hoping the implementation of new ideas offers him the chance of salvaging his United career. Failing that, his Old Trafford career could be over once and for all sooner rather than later.